So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, where Aston Villa lost 1-0 to Everton at home in a game where Aston Villa were poor, I think it's fair to say. A lot of sloppiness, the conditions were poor, but that's not an excuse for anything. And Aston Villa didn't raise to the heights of it. A lot of wayward shots, I think Rodgers had 3 or 4 cutbacks that went over the bar, and Evan Gassan hits the crossbar, but Tierno Barry gets the goal to consign Aston Villa to a 1-0 loss. I'm going to say it straight out the bat here, not because we've lost. Put my kids to bed in a minute. It's 6:30, so I've got to run and put my kids to bed soon. So this isn't going to be a long one. It isn't going to be a long-winded one at all. But Paddy, that was not the result or the performance that we were hoping for tonight. Sure, it wasn't.
It's not what we were hoping for. But let's be honest, the minute we get hit with that type of injury problem, and then adding John McGinn to it didn't make it any better. It was probably to be expected, because it's so frustrating that, this is modern day football, that Manchester City can go and buy Semenyo and Guehi during the week, and we can do nothing, only sell our second choice striker and try and bring someone in to change it. And that, at the end of the day, will be the reason we fall away from where we are, because we just can't compete at this level. And to me, this is becoming virtually unbearable to watch. But at the end of the day, we were the masters of our own destiny today. We didn't do it. We from the word go, even before we lost John McGinn, I thought we were lethargic, we're disinterested. It was just horrible to watch. But it's a lost opportunity against a poor Everton side who had no real talent. The biggest chance they get, they score from it, from 2 poor mistakes from our goalkeeper and our centre half in there as well.
Yeah, Martinez should be catching that every day. It was one of the few things the commentator said that I actually agreed with in the whole game was Martinez goes to catch that. When he hits the ground, it squirts out because the ground is slippy. Even if he pushes it more, if he goes to push it to the side, Turner Barry can't get that. Chips it over. Great finish from Barry. Jesus, could have stuck his laces through it, and Martinez probably would have saved it. But chips it up over him. Ezri Konsa tries to get it off the line, can't. Kicking into the side net, and they did. That was one of only, I think, at the time. I think maybe about 7 minutes to go in the game, they flashed up a graphic, and Everton had only 4 touches in our box in the whole second half, and that was one of them. And that's so. We did play poorly. Don't get me. We did play poorly, but Everton didn't play great, and that's the thing that pisses me off more so. If you were to listen to commentary, if you were blind and you were listening to the commentary, you think Everton were absolutely all over Villa and were superb, and they were not. It was not the case. Villa were sloppy. There was a couple of passes. There was one pass from Maatsen. I have no idea what he was doing. He kicked it right into the dugout in the first half. Second half, Tielemans had a couple of errant passes. Rodgers had a couple of errant passes. I think Rodgers tonight did a bit more trying to play the ref than he did trying to play the conditions for himself. I know he was getting pulled and dragged and stuff like that was happening to him, but there was an awful lot of going down and flailing around, and the ref just decided he wasn't giving him anything. So that was it. I'm not giving out about Rodgers doing that or anything like that. It's just kind of, it's just one of those things that the ref wasn't going to give him a free.
Should he be any different than someone else on the pitch that did nothing, only draw fouls?
Exactly. And that's it. Like it isn't the reason we lost the game today. We lost the game today. I actually don't even think we lost the game today because we didn't have people to bring on. We lost the game today because we were sloppy. Everton didn't have people to bring on either. And they still won that game today. We lost the game because our first 11 were sloppy out the gap. Bogard, I thought, was good. I thought Maatsen was really good. I don't understand taking Maatsen off. I thought, if anything, I would have taken off. I probably would have taken off Guessand again. I would have moved Rodgers to the right, put Emmy in the centre, and put Maatsen as a left winger and tried to shuffle around like that, but it didn't work that way. And he did push Gessan up top with Ollie Watkins, but from the second Gessan came on, he didn't really look like he was going to break a sweat. In a lot of instances, he gets the header that comes off the bar, all right, but didn't look like he was going to. And he won through the middle of where he got onto it, and I think Tarkovsky might have got a touch in it, and it kind of squirted away from him, but didn't really look up to much at all. And look, I know that like the commentators couldn't wait to tell us that Malin scored in Italy. I don't care if Malin scored in Italy. Just like I said when John Duran left the club, I don't care how many goals he scores in Saudi Arabia. He's not in a Villa shirt now, and we have to deal in the reality of he's not here. We have to. The club knew since Monday he wasn't going to be here. If you're telling me that the club weren't game planning from Monday for him not being here, and you can say, well, we would have won if we game planned properly. That's correct. That is right. But the big thing here is the players, the 11 that went out, did not turn up for vast swathes of this game. And that's why we lost. And I'm not sitting here in 2 or 3 weeks' time pining over Daniel Malin. Do you know why? Because it's pointless. It's
gone.
He's
gone. It's done and dusted.
Yeah.
Forget about it. All we can do is...
You guys can, but I'm not going to be saying it here on the podcast. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to be saying, I wish we had Malin. And we need to be better in the transfer market. We absolutely do. We do. 100% do. And we didn't have things coming off the bench tonight. I think actually a positive out of today was George Hemmings. Thought he played pretty well when he came on for the 17 minutes that we saw of him. But he's not a striker, and we do need a striker, and hopefully we see movement during the week this week on a striker and on an attacker in general, I think, because we do need that impetus for sure. I agree with everybody on that. But Malin scoring today isn't the reason that we lost. We didn't win this game. We lost this game because...
no, but it just adds to people's frustration, and I'm absolutely fine if people are frustrated. Yeah,
me too.
He's obviously not the reason. There's no guarantee that Matson comes or Malin comes on and scores there today. He wasn't available to us. We knew what we had. The injuries have killed us in midfield, especially. Losing John McGinn is now another huge worry. Heading into the
big worry. Heading
into the run of games that we have, 4 games now in 14 days. So it's actually less. It's four games in 10 days, I think, when you add it up. And look, it's not going to be easy. We've got Newcastle away. We've got Brentford at home. 2 games that we could very easily lose. So it's going to have to be worked on. It's going to have to be sorted out. And he hasn't got much time because he's got to prepare for a tricky trip to Fenerbahce and then a very short preparation window between getting home and getting to Newcastle away. So it's a make or break couple of weeks, I think, in our season, with regards to keeping the pressure on those at the top. And it depends who we get in now to whether we push on any further or whether we just maintain what we have. And maybe that is just the agenda. But for me, it's frustrating because I said in the team sheet tantrum, because of what I said last week, we're not out of the title race until we physically can't win the title. So for me, I do believe this is one huge chance because, let's face it, FIFA, UEFA, FA, Premier League, whoever it is, they're still going to continue to make the big boys stronger, and they're going to allow... we've seen it, 115 reasons why we've seen it. Nothing done about it in 3 years. And yes, we're hamstrung by, by not having the head start that they had over the last 20 years, building their stadium and making their income and winning trophies, buying trophies, I should say, over the last 20 years. So that's the most frustrating part. But losing today against probably the poorest Everton team on paper that we probably could have come up against. And, people are pointing fingers, people are asking questions. That's perfectly fine. For me, I point the fingers elsewhere. I point the finger at a linesman that can't see a blatant push in the back on Morgan Rogers. We probably got away with one with the, they're saying, he wasn't offside for their goal in the first half. Yes, but the fella who puts the ball in the back of the net is also wrestling someone to the ground as he's doing it. Nobody mentions that, because that's not part of the rhetoric when they're talking about Aston Villa, unfortunately.
I didn't even bring up the offside because, lads, that's clear offside. He 100% affected play. It's not even one of these corner cases whereby is he standing in the goalkeeper's eye line. No, the man jumps for it, he misses it by less than an inch, and it goes to Jake O'Brien behind him. Lads, what are we doing? What are we doing here? It's not even a talking point. It's as clear a textbook from the law. And I'm not saying, shoes on the other foot, grand. The fucking law says it. It's like I was going 81, you were going over 80. So it's like speed limit. I was going 85 kilometers. Yeah, you were going over the fucking speed limit. That's the law. I give me a bit of leniency. We don't want leniency in the laws. We want laws to be bang, bang, bang. We want VAR to be. We don't want the 5 centimeter threshold in VAR. This was the second I saw it in replay, I went, that's offside, because he was offside. Comes back on, he's clearly going for the ball. He makes every intention to play the ball. In the same phase of play, for me, it's offside. I genuinely, I do not know what the studio we're talking about. It's there.
I didn't even listen to it.
Black and white.
I didn't listen to the studio.
If there's any Everton fans watching this going, oh, you wouldn't say that if that's about Villa. It wasn't about Villa. I'm telling you, it's exactly what the law says. I'm not talking about whether it's got a yellow jersey on like Everton did, or a claret jersey like Villa did. It's exactly what the law says. So they got for once they get it right, and we're telling them that they shouldn't get it right, that it should be that it's not right, but it was. So I don't know. That's that. I wasn't even going to talk about it because I like, as I say, it's written down. It's exactly there. There's no ambiguity in that law at all for my view on it. Yeah, listen, as I say, I do have to run away in a minute, guys. But look, there's no parsing around it. People are going to be pissed off about this loss, as we are 100% pissed off. But we're like I'm not looking for excuses in this one. It was 11 people who went out and didn't play well. Didn't play to the top of their ability like they have done in previous weeks. Are we missing things on the bench? We absolutely are. Is the transfer window still open? It is. But Unai Emery's going to wake up tomorrow. What?
But we can't spend much. We'll have to just cut across the fade as we have.
The thing here is we can replace the one man that we sold in Daniel Mallon, and we will replace him. And I would imagine that there's going to be one other player that can come in as well. And like, remember, guys, John McGinn didn't cost much. Victor Lindelof didn't cost much. In the greater scheme of things, 12 million for Ezri Konsa, it wasn't an awful lot. We don't like 20. As I said before the game, if we were talking about we were signing RB Leipzig's 25 million euro central midfielder who is 22 years of age, who plays for the Dutch under-21 team, we'd be absolutely steaming happy because we'd be saying he's brilliant, and that is Lamar Bogart for us. So it's time to shit or get off the pot for some of the kids here. It really is. We've got this great team, great youth. It's not the way we want it. Don't get me wrong. It's not the way we want it. But George Hemming's coming in, Bogart coming in. Is it ideal? No. But, do we want to sit here and start talking about victim mentality? Do we want to start talking about whatever those other phrases, other city phrases are? Essentially, you got to live in the reality of it at the moment. Sorry, you guys can live in whatever you want. I'm choosing to live in what I believe is the reality, which is that we've got players injured. We're pushing a rock uphill like Sisyphus with regards to the PSR, and we have to find a way around it. And we can sit here and we can give out about the rules, or we can try and find a way around it. And the club will have to do that some way, shape, or form.
Let's face it, to be sitting in where we are in the league at this stage, given everything that's gone against us, it's a marvelous achievement, and we should be delighted with where we are. We're okay to be pissed off today, having failed to put in the performance, and that's absolutely fine. But now it's about how we regroup after this, who he brings in, how we strengthen, how we get those players back on the pitch that are injured. And look, we know it's a miracle what he's done here. That's why we love him so much. We know that we've been hamstrung since he came in the transfer market, yet he still managed to do it. Has there been mistakes made? Absolutely. Elliott was obviously a mistake, according to Emery. I believe Sancho was a mistake. I'm beginning to believe now, I haven't given him a chance, Gessan was probably a mistake. I don't know where he fits into the system either. But look, let's see what this week brings. Be happy with what we have. Try and push on, heading into what's going to be a tough period for the next 2 weeks, and see where we are when that transfer window closes after we play Brentford in 2 weeks' time. Yeah,
absolutely. I did say I have to go put my kids to bed, so apologies. I am going to have to cut this one short, but look, not good enough from Aston Villa today. I'm sure Unai Emery is inside there and he's explaining what he thinks. He didn't look like he cut a happy figure on the sideline. Aston Villa, you would have expected Aston Villa to be more clinical today and to be more ruthless at home, and it wasn't the case. I'm sure he will be knocking on the door of Roberto Labe, Damian Vidigani, and everybody else, saying we need to get attackers in here, guys. You just saw what happened outside there. We had a striker who had 9 touches of the ball 55 or 60 minutes into the game. That can't happen. We need somebody to be able to bring on when he's having games like that, which he's had this season. And look, as I said, the transfer window is still open. Yes, they could have gone and they could have brought in a replacement before they shipped out Malin. That definitely could have been the situation. What happens if Roma pulled their offer off the table and Aston Villa needed that money? Who knows? Someone's going to write a book on it at some stage. You guys we can posit and we can hypothesize with regards to whatever it is with regards to that transfer. But he's not here and he's not going to be here for the rest of the year. So club have to find a way around it. They just absolutely have to find a way around it. And I must say, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because we've made silk purses out of sow's ears before. So let's see if we can do it again. But we don't we're not saying we have the answers. It's up to see what the club do between here now and the end of the transfer window. But I really got to go, guys. I'm looking out the window here and I can see my daughter's banging on the door here, so I better go and put her to bed. Thanks so much, everybody. Look, not the post-match podcast we wanted to have. Look, we're hot under the collar trying to keep it fucking sane here as well as the rest of you guys are too. So don't take our looseness or dismissiveness in certain situations as anything. We're just trying our best to stay as professional as not professional, but as even keeled as we possibly can. But look, we're fans like everybody else as well. So I'm sure you'll agree with some things and you'll disagree with the majority of some of the stuff that we've said there. But that's fine. That's the discourse of football. Anyway, we will be back again with anything that breaks. I know, Paddy, you got to be somewhere and I got to be somewhere. Go enjoy all the rest of the other Villa content and give them all a turn as well. And we will see you as soon as anything else breaks. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.